You're on mute.
Bitch, what a rookie mistake.
What are you doing?
All kinds of shit right before there. I'm not going to repeat myself because that wouldn't be proper.
Nobody heard anything you said.
Look who's back, folks.
Oh,
because you did not demand it. Rob.
That's true.
Has returned.
Yeah, nobody was like, "Hey, where's the Caucasian that usually joins you?" Nobody asked.
No. A couple people last week when we were playing a particular game, people were like, "Yo, where's Rob for this shit?"
No, yeah, because they were like, "Hey, Rob would know this answer. Where is he at?" And nobody else really gave a shit.
Yeah. So welcome, folks. Welcome to the Sidekick Show. If you're catching this on the replay, we are live every Monday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please join us. Join us in the chat like Lewis is and like Frazier is. I don't know if anyone else is hiding in the chat. Sometimes you don't have access to the typey part. So welcome to the show. We are going to be talking about Back to the Future later. But I don't know if Rob's got any news, but I've got some new stuff coming to the shop.
I do.
And we're going to find out what Rob was up to all this time.
Oh, boy, buddy.
We're going to go through all the stuff. On his list. Oh yeah, okay. Because I didn't really get to do much except for work related stuff, which was a blast. So I had a pretty good weekend, Rob. But cool. You have been away for 2 weeks from this show, right?
Yeah,
it feels like 2 weeks.
So here's let's go to the way back time machine. Ready? And on the May 2-4 weekend, we did not record the Heroes World podcast that Thursday because I was out of town attending my daughter's dance competition up in Deerhurst. So that was like over the May 2-4 weekend. Sunday night, first of all, Saturday, massive storm rips through a lot of Southern Ontario, including my area. But where I was playing tennis. I had no idea. People were like,
you were playing tennis, were you?
I was playing tennis with a backhand swing and shooting some hoops. But Deerhurst. And people were like, yo, there's a storm happening in the GTA. And I was like, no, we get sunny here. I get home Sunday and, my lawn looks like a disaster. Whatever, man. No power. Power comes back on, lost all the food. Anyways, that night, my wife and I have tickles in our throats. We're like, and we thought, we've been away for 4 or 5 days. We're probably just really tired. Monday morning, we both wake up and we're feeling like out of sorts. The day goes on, we test, come back as negative for COVID, although we're starting to feel something's not right. Literally, dude, an hour and a half later, my wife walks by and because I guess we just didn't throw the tests out. It was still on the counter. She goes, oh my God. It's come up as positive. I'm like, no, bullshit, right? Because we did the 15 minutes, it said negative. But between the 15 minutes and an hour and a half or 2 hours later, little faint purple line came up. Needless to say, my wife and I are both tested positive. My daughter tested positive a few days later. I'm on week 2, and I got to tell you, John, this is like the worst. Like I am still not 100%. We recorded the main show with you, Stu, and myself last Thursday, and I was hacking away. While you were playing the intro, I was having a coughing fit for tonight. So this is going to be really interesting to see how things go. But you can. Listen, man, I'm double vaxxed and triple vaxxed, boosted, and all that. Some people, it's like spinning the roulette wheel. It's like, oh, you get a headache. I didn't get the headaches, but I got the chills, the fevers, the really sore throat, the cough. Oh, it's been brutal. So that's been 2 weeks so far of my experience.
It lived up to the hype.
Oh, it did not disappoint. This was not like walking into Morbius expecting that maybe there might be something redeeming about that movie. Like there was absolutely nothing redeeming about COVID. But let me just tell you, thanks to everybody who didn't actually reach out to see if I was fine. I watched a ton of stuff, John.
So we've added this new segment to the show, and it's actually a lot of fun. So we're going to ask, how was your weekend? So you guys in the comments, let us know how was your weekend? What'd you get up to? Did you watch any TV, movies, or read some comics or anything? Well, Rob's coughing up a lung here. We're going to go through. We're going to attempt to go through his checklist of what went down during his a break.
Yeah.
quote unquote. But let's hit it, Rob. What do you want to start with? Do you have them in order of TV, movies, and other miscellaneous?
I do. And actually, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Gord and to Sarah and your brother Chris on the Top Gun night. I was supposed to be there. I was not able to literally get off out of bed on that Monday night. And then last week I saw your game, and it was a whole lot of fun. So thanks to those guys for stepping in, and I'm glad everybody had a good time. Yeah. Okay. So, dude, people kept saying, hey, while you're off, you have an opportunity to catch up on all your TV shows and movies that you haven't seen. But the problem is that you're kind of in like this weird, like hazy moment where you're losing, like I can't concentrate on what I was watching. So I thought, I'm going to throw in a documentary. Help me sleep, John.
Oh, Jesus.
No, it didn't.
I feel like that's the worst idea.
Cocaine Cowboys Miami. So now I had seen the previous Cocaine Cowboys documentary on Netflix. I thought, I'm going to throw on this one. This was like day one. Like it was on the Monday afternoon, or maybe it was a Tuesday morning. Watched all 6 episodes. Okay, if you guys have Netflix and you're thinking, hey, I might want to throw in Cocaine Cowboys Miami, don't do it. It was a horrible documentary. It was 6 episodes. It was 4 episodes too long. So I saw that. I saw Kids in the Hall, Comedy Punks documentary on the Kids in the Hall. They have a new show that's out on Amazon.
Okay, so you watched the documentary, but you didn't
watched
watch
a 2-part documentary. I didn't watch the new season because I wasn't in the mood to laugh, John, because every time I laugh, I cough. Okay, Netflix. I watched The Lincoln Lawyer. So this was a movie with Matthew McConaughey from 2011. They've now done a television show.
Sounds boring as fuck, by the way. Anyways, go on.
It actually wasn't that bad. If you're into like legal dramas, it's a really easy watch, dude. 10 episodes.
Legal dramas that are not the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case.
No, I didn't watch any of that. I watched The Mayor of Kingstown. I watched all 10 episodes of that. That was
I've been recommending to that to you since you got Paramount Plus.
Yeah. Let me see. Like a Rolling Stone, The Life and Times of Ben Fong Torres. So if you are a Rolling Stone magazine aficionado, or if you have any general idea, you would know that one of the longest writers of the Rolling Stone magazine tenure was Ben Fong Torres. If the name sounds familiar, you've never read Rolling Stone, the likelihood is you've watched Almost Famous, where he is portrayed very briefly in that. So I watched that. George Carlin's America, John. It's a two episode documentary by Judd Apatow. Each is about an hour and 40 minutes in length. So it's about a 4-hour documentary. Yeah. If you're a George Carlin fan, fantastic. If you're not a fan, but you've seen some of his stuff on Twitter, especially every time there's like some big mass news event, people seem to repost a lot of his stuff from the 70s and 80s. It's definitely worth checking out George Carlin's America. And then a bunch of the TV shows that we've reviewed. Movie-wise, John, I saw Old Henry on Netflix. If you're a fan of Westerns, I highly recommend checking out Old Henry with Tim Blake Nelson. I think you would love watching that. Yeah. And then I watched Captain Marvel. Why not?
Rewatched. Were you watched it for the first time? Okay, yeah.
I rewatched Thor.
Random. Thor 1
and 2. Because I'm in the midst of reading the Jason Aaron Thor Omnibus, and so I kind of feel like I need to be enveloped in the Thor. I've rewatched Avengers, the first Avengers movie. And John, last year I said that this movie was my most anticipated of summer 2021. I watched it. It finally hit Crave a couple weeks ago. It's M. Night Shyamalan's Old. Yeah,
Old.
Okay.
What's the verdict?
No, listen, if you're already paying for Crave, then just watch it. If you have like a free 90 minutes, you're not missing much. You're not going to lose out if you don't see the movie. You're not really going to win anything if you see the movie. It is.
So Rob's proposing that if you want to waste 90 minutes, go ahead and do it with Old. I'm pretty sure when I think we were doing our upcoming hype train or whatever the hell special it was, and Rob was like, Old by M. Night Shyamalan, where you go on a beach and you get old fast, and and everybody else just laughed at him and went, no way.
Yeah, I know, I was wrong. And finally, Stranger Things season 4. I know that you, Sarah, Gordon, Chris were talking about it last week. I did watch season 4. I killed it in the first weekend. My son and I watched it. It is phenomenal. I'm actually going to talk a little bit about Stranger Things when we talk about Back to the Future. So, John, that is my list, man. That's a whole bunch of shit that I've watched in the last 2 weeks.
What was your favorite out of all those things, and why was it Top Gun Maverick?
Yeah. Oh, I did see Top Gun Maverick. I didn't put that in. I did see it. What was my favorite thing? If I was to pick, I really liked Mayor of Kingstown. If people haven't seen it with Jeremy Renner, I really recommend it. It's on Paramount Plus. Old Henry. I got to tell you guys, Old Henry on Netflix is a fantastic movie. Again, it's a Western, but it's like super good. Like it's like I was really, really impressed with it. So yeah,
Right.
I think I'm forgetting something, but whatever.
Rob's main recommendation is
18 things on here. So
Old Henry. I do highly recommend Top Gun. That was one that's still fresh in my mind. So Fraser and Lewis saw Top Gun Maverick. I'm sure they loved it. Sarah says she watched The Sadness on iTunes, a Chinese horror movie. And she said it's the most effed up scenes I've ever seen, which must be a feat, actually, because I know these kind of movies are Sarah / Gord jams.
Yeah.
I'm gonna not watch.
Like,
I'm gonna go ahead and not watch this.
Yeah, I think we should just probably avoid that.
And Gord says, "Yeah, Stranger Things. Stranger Things is one of those things I missed the boat originally on it, so I'm like way behind. So I'm gonna have to go and just sit down and go through all of it at one point." Yeah. So.
My son asked me, he goes, "Are you ever going to review Stranger Things on the show?" And I said, "John has never seen." And he goes, "Then just tell him to watch all 4 seasons and get ready for the 5th.
I don't think your son sounds like that, but okay.
Actually,
we'll
he sounds like that. He goes like, "Has John watched Stranger Things?" And I said, "No, Sly, he hasn't." He's like, "What?
Yo, look at this alone." What are your thoughts on Stranger Things? We should do a whole podcast in our bad Stallone voices. Sorry, right. Stallone. But you sound funny. Okay, so yeah, I can't top Rob's list. I'm trying to think of what did we get up to this weekend? I had a really busy time at the store, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of new releases and things like that. So that was really cool. But what took up a lot of my time is we got a really cool shout out from Miss Marvel herself, Iman. They posted this nice little graphic up, and it does say she grew up in Markham, Ontario, Canada. She thrives on bubble tea, so not boba, so you know she's from Canada. And it says her favorite comic book story is Heroes World. So we got a nice little shout out. I got a lot of messages, a lot of people sharing that, and that's always a good feeling. Not necessarily to say that we wanted clout or anything like that, but it's just nice to know that we are part of someone's life, and they thought fondly of us. I always love it. You guys all do the same thing for us. You guys share, you guys like, you guys tell other people about us, and that means a lot. So I think doing this, there are ups and downs, working retail and owning your business, but the people are and the customers and the family. Andre made the joke, family Dominic Toretto styles. The family that we have acquired through this is what makes it worth it. It's really cool, especially if you've been one of the regulars that comes every week. Rob used to do it. He moved away, so we lost that part. But now we get together here like this. But it's cool to be a part of someone's life on a regular basis, even for a couple minutes a day. I think that's really cool. So I do want to play a quick clip I saw of her on Twitter, which kind of sums up the type of person I feel that she was. I kind of vaguely remember it was this really sweet spot in time where kids would come into the shop and they were coming in and they were rifling through back issues and they would just grab random back issues. So Rob, they weren't like us old guys who were like, I got to get number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I got to get everything in order. And what if I don't have all of it? These kids would just go through bins and just grab random books that they thought the covers looked cool or the character looked cool, and they would just buy that one thing and they'd be on their way. It was a really cool thing. I just wanted to play this quick clip of her. They did I guess they premiered the show, some type of a red carpet ceremony or something like that. The show does debut June 8th. So I'm just gonna play this really clip and you're gonna see how sweet she is.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Iman Bilani, and I play Miss Marvel, and I'm really excited to be here. We've been working on the show for 2 years, and now it's finally out, and I have so many emotions and so many feelings, but alas.
Yeah, so she's super sweet. You can tell she's a really young kid, and I hope she's having a blast, and I hope the show is fantastic, and I hope it means a lot to a lot of people coming out. Shang-Chi, upon reflection, is a big deal. It was a big deal to me. I just rewatched it because Rob, you were away because I was so proud. I went through a book, but I cheated. I did the audio book. I went through Simu Liu's book, We were dreamers in one day, and learned about his whole experience. So thank you everybody for always sharing and letting us be a part of your life. So I thought that was really cool.
You know what though, you guys are a little bit modest. Let me just say this: is that there was another clip from Iman did on the red carpet where she started going on about the Marvel 616. She goes, "This is not the MCU is not Marvel 616. I think it's the 1888." She was going on like dropping her bona fides, and you don't get to understand that knowledge if you are not a geek, and you're not going to be a geek if you don't have somebody or a store who is feeding you that information by way of their product. So that's like, you know, not to say that she wouldn't be where she is without Heroes World, but I think that you and Andre should take a bow to know that, you know, your store and your environment, your friendliness caused her to keep coming back for more, and it filled up her brain and played a small role into where she is now. So that's, otherwise she wouldn't have shouted you guys out the last few times, including that clip you posted on Facebook today with from Narcity, right? Where they're like, "Oh, tell us about things in Toronto." She goes, "Well, I don't know about Toronto. I'm talking about Markham." Yeah. So, I think you guys should totally be super proud of yourselves. So I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of everything. So
thank you, Rob. Yeah, it was a really good feeling, and it's nice to get all the love from everybody at once. So it's really cool. Thank you, everybody. So I can't wait to watch the show.
Wednesday, we're gonna do a review for it this week, I think.
Yeah. And I hope she's having a blast. You can tell she's a very young kid. And I hope this experience and what it's gonna mean to a lot of people really is helps her out and helps her have a very wonderful career in whatever she wants to do. So let's keep it moving. I could probably talk about her all day and this whole project and how much I love everybody here. So let's get into we're gonna talk a little bit about what's new at the shop this week. And then Rob's gonna hit us. Do you have news, Rob? Or
I do. Yeah, I didn't. We'll get into it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we got some news, and so I'm gonna bring up some stuff that's coming out this week. So if you're not following us on the Instagram and the Facebook, Heroes World Online, got a lot of really cool stuff. The new releases are posted I've been doing it Sunday. Seems like people like to see it Sunday night. So I'll see how long my schedule holds up for me to get that done. But we have a big title coming out this week, Rob. It's Marvel X or crossover Fortnite Zero War. So it's the big crossover book. Everybody's been asking about it last couple months. The last Fortnite DC crossover did very, very well for us. It did come out during the pandemic, so it was kind of a bummer we didn't get to see all these new young readers, especially lots of younger kids would be pulling up to the we'll have to do like a whole show on just what it was like the pandemic on retail and on everybody's lives and stuff like that. But it, people would be pulling up to the door to pick up their copy of the DC Fortnite book. I could see their kids in the back seat or in the passenger seat, and they were very appreciative that we were kind of bringing it to people and making it available. So it's gonna be nice to be able to see some new faces, hopefully, and maybe some returning faces to come back for this book. Rob, are you looking forward to picking up some more Fortnite comics?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I gotta say, I really did enjoy the first 6 issues that DC and Fortnite did. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so much like my son got into it, and we got his friends were calling the store, I guess.
Yeah. Very appreciative, Rob. And
they had that.
And Noah sent his buddies. So hopefully I got it to them in time. I know I had to ship some of those out, and some people came all the way up from your hood to come to us. So hopefully they can, if they need it from me, tell them to hit me up. If not, hopefully they can find it a little closer to home and just everybody be reading this book and enjoying. So there are a whole bunch of the catch for this. It was why it's getting people into it is because it also does come with a download code. So I've got on here the quick list of when the issues release. So June 8th is issue 1. And then so on and so on. So July 13th. So it looks like they're going about a month apart for this one. It feels like they were a little bit faster last time. And the first thing you get is a Spider-Man based outfit. And then you're going to get an Iron Man wrap and a whole bunch of stuff. And then it says once you get all the codes, you're going to be granted some type of additional outfit unlock. I'm sure it's going to be leaked and we're going to find out what exactly it is. Any guesses on what it might be, Rob? Maybe another Spider-Man costume?
No, maybe Galactus. The reason I say that is because you saw Galactus played a role in that cover. So I wonder if there'll be a Galactus,
some type of Galactus. I feel like it's going to be a skin. It usually was a big thing, like a bigger item to kind of give you a really nice benefit of getting all these. So that's really cool. I can't wait to see all the all the people in to check this book out. So if you need this, hit me up. It should be available this week on Wednesday. Next up, I'm going to show you some pre-orders from Sideshow. I feel like it's been a minute and Rob wasn't with us, so I figured I'd show off some cool statues, Rob. So this is Tweeterhead Sideshow Poison Ivy. This is a variant color version. So they originally did do a skin tone version. Here's a funky picture of it, superimposed on this weird, like, what's this giant leaf they have on display here? And again, with the books,
palm off and put it into a vase.
Yeah, these are always funny to see. But yeah, they did a regular skin version of her, and this is the new kind of green skinned Poison Ivy, which I feel like is her traditional look nowadays in the animated series.
I would agree.
And in the comics, she's kind of rocking the green skin and looking more kind of plant like. So this is a really cool piece. Looking forward to this. Sideshow is really kicking it into high gear. They kind of I don't know if they put things on hold. Same with this Tweeterhead company, if they put things on hold during the pandemic, but a lot of stuff is coming out. So let me show you something else. This one's for Sarah here. This is a Sonia Blade Iron Studios statue in the 1/10 scale. Looks like it's based off the original video game. This is kind of her traditional look, but it's got the high ponytail. I don't remember if she had the high ponytail in the first game. Yeah, I don't believe so. I think she had the kind of like a bob.
Yeah, going on. I think. Yeah,
but I could be wrong. I feel like this is the Mortal Kombat 2 movie version. But this is a pretty cool piece. Like Iron Studios is killing it. They got a whole bunch of other pieces, so I'm going to show off some more next time. But they're just hitting all kinds of different properties and giving you a bunch in a set, so you can fill your whole shelf. So let me keep it moving here. This is the Captain Marvel. So Sideshow is bringing back their premium format. So this is the 1/4 scale. Not particularly based off of Brie Larson. I don't believe so. It looks like a comic book version. I can't place a particular artist. But here's another funny rendering of it next to your nice fancy antique chair and clock.
And you're wainscoting.
Look at the molding on the wall. This is a pretty pimp ass apartment, whatever this is. But this is a really nice piece. These premium format statues are usually really, really high end. Really, really crispy looking. And we've got the Hot Toys Scarlet Witch. I didn't want to show too many of the Hot Toys. They've announced a lot of them because some people might not have seen Multiverse of Madness. But I figure you guys have seen at least the version of Scarlet Witch. So this is the Hot Toys Scarlet Witch.
Well, as an aside, John, people will be able to see Multiverse of Madness June 22nd. If you have,
yes, coming straight to Disney Plus. I believe that the unlock, you had to pay for the unlock for at first, right? And then it becomes
I don't think so. No, I think
really?
It's free to stream as long as you've got your Disney Plus membership. I think it's free to stream.
All right, so we'll see. I look forward to rewatching that one. How do you like this likeness to Brie Olsen?
Brie Olsen, no, Elizabeth
Brie Larson, Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah, no,
Olsen.
It's Olsen, one of the Olsen, not the twins. I think I actually like the likeness on the right a lot more than on the left. I like it a lot. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, this is gonna be a really nice piece. So that is the Scarlet Witch. So since Rob's back, I figured we play a little game, a little bit Price is Right action.
Okay. I
want you, if you can, Rob. Do you want to put these statues in order of price, lowest to highest? What are you feeling on this one?
Okay, so lowest. Do I have to guess the actual price?
No. Just
lowest to highest.
Just the order.
I'm gonna go Scarlet Witch first as the lowest.
Yeah, this is a deluxe Hot Toys. Remember, it's got the thing on her back and that.
Okay.
The candles all around her.
Okay. You swap. Okay, so Sonia Blade is second. And there you go. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I think so because the Tweeterhead statues are really, really impressive. They've been coming out some really on the scene in the last, I would say, 3 years or so, 3-4 years, and their stuff is really improving, but it is getting pretty pricey. But it's good quality. The Iron Studios 1/10. I'm just trying to decide, is that more or less than the Scarlet Witch? I mean, the Captain Marvel is obvious. I mean, that's the high end.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. You know what? I don't know. I feel like you might have just 1/10 Iron Studio. Okay, swap Scarlet Witch and Sonia Blade.
Sonia Blade and Scarlet Witch. All
right, I think I'm confident in that.
All right, let's go. Is this the time that Rob wins? I don't know if you've won any of these before, Rob, but I usually I kind of stack it to make it harder for you. So let's go. First one, Sonia Blade, $170 USD. So not bad for a Sonya Blade statue.
Yeah,
quality. Really, and I hope they do all the other Mortal Kombat characters because that'll look hella cool.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch at $320 for this deluxe version USD. Let's go. Poison Ivy, $400 for this Tweeterhead statue, and then the Captain Marvel is $625 for the premium format. Thank you for playing, Rob. You win nothing, but
come on.
We'll have a home version of this game. I'll send you this Jamboard slide. You can play at home with the family. No, Lewis is right on the money. I think too. He had the same thoughts as you.
No, good for you, Lewis.
Let's see. Sarah had Sonya, Witch, Ivy, and Marvel. Yeah. Everyone is. I felt maybe this one was a little bit too obvious. But yeah, that's what we got. And then two more announcements quickly at the store. We are getting the new D&D Magic the Gathering Commander Legends set this week officially. And then we also are taking pre-orders for the brand new Warhammer or Horse Heresy Age of Darkness set. I can't wait for this set. There's going to be a lot of models. There's a lot of work to be done, but they're going to look hella cool. But let me toss it over to Rob, who's back. It's nice to have you back, Rob.
Thanks, buddy.
Let's talk the news.
Before I want to give a big shout out to you for a quick second again. This is like the Love John. I had put this request in for John for the Death and Return of Superman Omnibus. It came into the store. I want to say it was a week and a half ago, John. I was sick. You sent it out to me. This is like I want to say, look at the size of this thing, man. This is thick. I want to say
that sucker's thick.
Yeah. I want to say it's like 1,400 pages. It's one of DC's biggest omnibuses. I want to say 1,404 or 1,470. At any rate, the you guys, I think you still have a copy, John.
I'm sold out right now. I had
Good
I had
for
a
you.
bunch of them total, and one guy just grabbed the last copy this weekend because it's going to be it's a pop. It's like a memory. Like a lot of people from their childhood remember this.
Thing I wanted to show out though. Yeah. This actually has a fold out page.
Okay.
Right. So
spoiler alert: Superman dies.
Yeah.
At about that
story. But you know what? Listen, if you're going to get any more in. People should be taking a look at this. These are what they used to call whales, John. This is the fourth printing of this omnibus. This is the second printing like this, with that fold-out gate cover or page. So I want to say a big thank you to you. And then I do know that I saw your Instagram stuff, Facebook. You guys have got a bunch of omnibuses that are on sale at the store. So I would definitely recommend you guys check out the store and check out the omnibus because these are great. Honestly, I got some on my shelves there. I love having these. They're a hell of a lot of fun. So big thanks to you guys and to you, John, for sending that out to me.
Yeah, no sweat, Rob. Thank you.
I think the guy at Canada Post is on short term because of the heft of that box.
they are quite hefty.
Yeah, this thing is fucking heavy. All right, buddy. I got news for you, pal.
All right.
Hey, John. We got some big news out of Marvel Comics. Joe Quesada is leaving the House of M, the former editor-in-chief at Marvel, who became an executive vice president and creative director in October of 2019, where he actually got to work with Kevin Feige in Marvel Studios, announced last week that he was walking away from Marvel. He has a massive and a long history with Marvel Comics. He started there in 1998 along with Jimmy Palmiotti and kicked off the Marvel Knights line back in 98. So I'm sure, John, you remember the Marvel Knights line where the Punisher was like, hunting ghosts, and they really did kind of bring back Daredevil and Ghost Rider. So John, does Quesada go down as one of comics all-time greats? Is he on the Mount Rushmore of comic creators?
I feel like, Marvel has definitely been at the top. I think if you were to put together your list of what's hot, right, and throughout the years, I feel like Marvel has always edged out DC. I'm sure it's up for debate. So it's going to be very interesting. I feel like he's, like you said, he's been in charge for who was right before him? Do you remember?
As an editor-in-chief, it was Bob Harris, I believe.
Bob Harris, yeah. I remember you used to see him in the letters column all the time. Yeah. So it's only maybe two guys that we've ever seen have this job. So to have a third, a new face, or who knows, maybe it'll be someone else that we know. step into this role, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
we haven't seen this in almost I don't know how long. It's ages. Yeah.
Well, hey John, you want to play a fun game?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. As we
who doesn't want to play a fun game?
Yeah,
hey, y'all, you want to play a lousy game?
As we discussed in the past, Warner Brothers has merged with Discovery, and they have a new CEO who has said that he wants somebody to merge and oversee DC's publishing, television, and movie properties.
Mm-hmm.
Now, rumor has it, John, that Joe Quesada, who we just spoke about, is looking to expand his role in movies, given the work that he had done with Kevin Feige at Marvel. Do you think Joe Quesada would be a good fit for this new role?
So his LinkedIn profile went from employed for X amount of years to all of a sudden available, and then DC was like, hey.
That's right.
I don't know. I think we've seen this happen a couple times. It would be interesting to see if they could just copy the formula and bring the same guy over. But we have seen things like Bendis, move from company to company. It doesn't quite achieve the same success he had when he had that Midas touch at Marvel. So interesting. I'm very interested. But I feel like every debate when I talk to people about Snyder Cut, it could be about the Batman movie, it could be about whatever. Everyone unanimously agrees that they need someone in place like a Kevin Feige to unite or just kind of oversee all this brand.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Well, interestingly enough, there was an article that came out last week as well that Kevin Feige did have at the time when he was having a lot of problems with Ike Perlmutter at Marvel, and he was battling with him. DC and Warner's did have a few conversations with Feige, and he was very close, according to this article, to pulling the trigger and jumping ship to DC and Warner's. And apparently he still has fairly frequent conversations with them because he does have a lot of friends over at Warner. So who knows, John? Who knows? Speaking of Warner Brothers Discovery, the head of the movie division, Toby Emmerich, has stepped down and is being replaced by Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi. Those names will mean nothing to you, John, nor should they. This is just me filling in some time for the news.
Maybe if you said Pam Anderson, then I would have been like, oh, hold on a second. What's going on?
Hey, John, did you see the most recent Scream movie? It's like kind of titled Scream 5.
No, I did not.
Okay.
I think we were debating on doing it, though, right?
We were.
When we covered Scream back in the day, we were like, back in the day, like it was like a couple months ago, right?
Yeah, it might have been a year ago. Who knows? Well, word had come out today that franchise star Neve Campbell will not reprise her role as Sidney Prescott in Scream 6. There are other former Scream characters returning for the 6th installment, including Courtney Cox. Now, when I wrote this, there wasn't a reason given. But since I wrote this earlier this afternoon, John, apparently it's come out and Neve Campbell herself has stated the producers just didn't want to pay her what she thought her value was. This is a franchise that's brought in well over $1 billion collectively. She's starred in all 5 of these movies. Mm-hmm. She asked for a certain figure. They said no. And she said, okay, well, I'm going to walk away. And they said, all right, see ya. So
don't let the door hit you.
Well, I think it's a bit of a problem, to be honest with you, John. I don't, who knows what the figure was? I highly doubt it was something astronomical, but I think she makes a point. Like, I am worth a certain amount of money. I think I should be paid fairly. So, John, are you sad to see Neve Campbell leave the Scream universe?
Maybe this opens up the door to a Craft sequel or something like that, or was she in Wild Things? Maybe the Wild Things will come back. I don't know.
With Denise Richards.
Was it her, Denise Richards? Maybe that's what's going down, folks. But yeah, I think you're right. You made a good point there that she has been with this series since the beginning. It's
since 95.
Yeah. So maybe one day we'll find out whatever that number was.
And finally, John, today kicked off the Netflix Geek Week, where a whack of trailers dropped, including a sneak peek at Sweet Tooth Season 2, the final season of Lock and Key, a new series titled 1899 from the creators of one of my fave shows, Dark. And I know I think Scott Graziano's in the chat. Scott, go check out the trailer for 1899. It looks hella sick. Resident Evil, John, there's a new Resident Evil show dropping out later this month. They debuted a trailer. Okay. But one of our most anticipated, John, is The Sandman. They dropped their trailer. The show itself comes out on August the 5th. Now, have you seen any of the trailers that Netflix released for day one of Netflix Geeked?
No. No.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry, Rob. I know you sent the Sandman one. I didn't get a chance to check it out.
I did.
Oh.
And that was the news. I just wanted to. Scott asked me.
Whoops.
Oh, there you go, buddy. Scott asked me how much gutter loss. I think he was referring to the Omnibus.
Yeah.
People wondering what gutter loss is generally when you have like a splash page. It's hard to see when you get the pages together. There's no gutter loss really here, Scott. You want to know why, bud? Because this is printed in Canada, and the paper quality in binding is phenomenal. So no gutter loss. No gutter loss on that Omnibus, Scott. That joins my news.
Nothing in the gutters is what Rob says.
Only my mind. Only my mind.
Thank you very much for the news, Rob. Can I hit you with some clickbait stuff that I saw that you might have touched upon somewhat?
Dirty.
Yeah, a little bit dirty. Yeah. I saw a bunch of stuff posted. I don't know if it's just people with wishful thinking, but a lot of people said Amber Heard is now completely cut from the new Aquaman movie. What do you think? Do you think that's just a smear campaign of some kind or some
I think it's wishful thinking. I think, what do they have? Something like 8 million signatures of people who were like, please remove her. But
and put Bruce Campbell in.
During her trial, Warner DC president Walter Hamada, and
he was on there. Yeah,
I think I've messed up his title, but he's like the head of DC properties for Warner for the movie division. He pretty much said her role is pretty limited in the new movie. So how important is Mira to the movie? I don't know, but whatever, man. I don't know. You know what? I guess I choose to not wade into the Amber Heard Johnny Depp because I feel like no matter what side you take, you're not. We just won't look good. We won't look good if we're pro Depp. We're not going to look good if we're pro Heard. All I know is that she does nothing for me as an actress in her role. So whatever, man.
Yeah. I assumed it was just like some people making some clickbait jokes. But yeah, it did look like when Walter testified that he was like, no, this is what she's in the movie. It had no bearing on whatever was going on. So we'll see. Time will tell if she is removed from the movie completely. I did see another clickbait article that said DC was going to focus everything on a new Superman project with Henry Cavill. But I saw that as well. It seemed to be short-lived. I kind of saw it for like maybe an hour or so, and then it just disappeared.
I saw that article. Yeah. So I think it was attributed to this new CEO over at Warner Discovery, and I apologize, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I guess during some type of an investor call or some conference call, whatever, he wondered aloud why the hell DC has just let Superman, Henry Cavill, like languish. Like, these are your big guns. Your Batman, your Superman, your one. Like, why are we not producing anything with these characters? And I think that's kind of what, and he was just wondering aloud, why are we producing the Wonder Twins, which he cut? Why are we doing some of these other things when we have bigger IP? So will we ever see Henry Cavill again? I think this new head of DC is probably of Warner I think we have a better chance with him in that role than we did before. So we'll see.
All right, that's all I had for you, Rob.
Okay,
we'll save the rest for later. So let's get rolling. If you didn't check out our review of Top Gun and you have seen Top Gun, check out the review. These guys were a little stingy and refused to give this movie a perfect score. But I think this movie is flawless, folks. So check that out. If you haven't seen it in theaters and you're comfortable to go see it in theater, definitely check it out on the biggest screen possible with the loudest sound possible. Yeah. That's the way to see it. But if you want to wait for it to come home, I don't know when that's going to happen, but I'm actually going to purchase this physically for sure. And then we also did a review for Obi-Wan Kenobi episodes 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. If you want to see a grown man have a massive brain fart,
that was great.
For like 2.5 minutes and literally mumbling and stumbling over his words, you just go ahead and watch that.
A rare sight of Rob just basically getting blue screen of death and having to reboot. And then it also proceeded to follow in his physical computer as well. So his brain did it, and then his computer followed. So check that out, even if you don't care for the Obi-Wan show or waiting for it to be completed. So the episode 4 is going to be airing this Wednesday alongside Miss Marvel. Alongside, I believe there's a Black Adam trailer that's supposed to drop on that Wednesday as well. So a lot of content coming for you guys on Wednesday. So we'll see how that goes. But let's talk about, we're going back. We're going back in time, folks, to listen to some Huey Lewis talk about some skateboarding and some DeLorean action. So Rob, what did we choose for our random throwback movie? Maybe some of you watched it, maybe some of you got it burned into your memory. But we're talking, what are we talking? Back to the Future.
We are talking Back to the Future. Back to the Future, John, released July 3rd, 1985. The movie was directed by Robert Zemeckis and executive produced by Steven Spielberg. I'm not sure if you heard about that guy or not.
Never heard of him. He's new, right?
With a budget of $19 million, the movie went on to make $389 million at the box office, starring Canadian Michael J. Fox, who was still starring in the hit TV series Family Ties, Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, Crispin Glover, and Lea Thompson. Now, it's no secret, John, that the role of Marty McFly was originally played by Eric Stoltz, who was replaced with Fox about 7 weeks into production, causing a number of scenes to be reshot. Now, Fox was working during the days on Family Ties, then shot scenes for Back to the Future at night and on weekends. He only had maybe about 3 hours of sleep each night, and apparently the Teamsters literally carried him into the car, drove him back to the Family Ties set, and would lift him out of the car and carry him into the Family Ties change room for him to have a quick shower and makeup for a full day of shooting. So that guy was literally dying for his craft. Now, John, here's
what's it called? It's called Burning the Candle at Both Ends.
Candle at both ends. Yeah. Now, here's a list of other actors who were considered for Marty. Okay,
let's go.
Don't forget, this is 1985, John.
Okay.
John Cusack.
Yeah.
C. Thomas Howell. The aforementioned Johnny Depp. Ralph Macchio, John.
Ralph Macchio starring in Back to the Future would have been hilarious. All right, go ahead.
Charlie Sheen. John Cryer. A very young Ben Stiller. Peter DeLuise, who was Dom DeLuise's son and was also in 21 Jump Street with Johnny Depp. Billy Zane, who actually is in this movie as one of Biff's henchmen. Robert Downey Jr., Matthew Modine, who was in Stranger Things currently. And this one kind of threw me for a loop, John. Corey Hart, who declined to audition. He's like,
sunglasses at night guy?
Wearing my sunglasses at night. I'm not going to audition.
Would have been a different soundtrack.
That's right. Other actors considered for Doc Brown were Jeff Goldblum, John Lithgow, Dudley Moore, Ron Silver, Robin Williams, John Cleese, Mandy Patinkin, Gene Hackman, and James Woods. Now, John, the movie was released on VHS May 22nd, 1986. And I bring this up because at the end of the movie, it famously said on the VHS, "to be continued." But this was only added to the VHS release and not theatrical. However, Bob Zemeckis and Bob Gale, who was the other writer and producer on the movie, were really pissed that Universal had done that. And they asked them to remove it from every subsequent home release. So if you watch it on DVD, if you watch it on Blu-ray, even if you watched it on the streaming services, either it was Netflix or Amazon Prime, you will not see that to be continued because they wanted it to preserve the original intent of the movie to leave you hanging because they really didn't know if they were going to make any others. So I thought that to be kind of interesting. If you have the original VHS, you will have that to be continued. Now, as we know, John, the movie spawned 2 sequels, an animated show, comics, toys, lunchboxes, and new merchandise, which is still being released to this day. It has made the DeLorean one of the most recognized vehicles in cinematic history. And I know we're going to talk about the car in moments. The movie was a hit critically when it was released. And according to Rotten Tomatoes, currently has a 96% critic score and a 94% audience score. So, John, let me ask you, when you hit 88 miles per hour, did you see some serious shit?
Gonna see some serious shit, Marty. They drop quite a few swear words. I feel like they drop a whole bunch of shit bombs. I guess, would you call it shit bombs? I don't know what you call But yeah, okay, so we rewatched the movie. If I could talk today, I can never talk, but it'd be nice if one day I could. Rewatching of this movie, does it still hold up? This movie is like a 35-year-old movie, so you do have to grade on. Look at Rob doing the math. Am I right?
Well, right? Almost in 1985. It's actually more than that. It's almost 40 years old.
Holy Jesus. I lost 5 years. So this is a 40-year-old movie, folks.
Almost,
so some things aren't going to hold up quite as well, but the charm of this movie, and I think a lot of it rests on Michael J. Fox, and also in part the Doc Brown, Christopher Lloyd's their chemistry together. Although it does make you question the relationship between them as characters in the movie. It's kind of weird, but his chemistry. And just Michael J. Fox is amazing in this movie. I think you would almost, even if you had issues with the plot and some of the other characters and stuff like that, because I feel like a lot of the supporting cast wasn't as strong as Fox just tearing it up on this. And I think the rumor is that it cost like $3 million to do the refilm or the reshoots.
Yeah, the original budget was $14 million, and then they came in at 19 because it was actually an extra $5 million to do those reshoots with Michael J. Fox. Yeah.
So an expensive price tag, but I think 100% worth it. I did watch some of those clips with the other gentleman, and it's a much more serious performance, and I feel like this movie wouldn't enjoy this cult status. It would be more along the lines of Charlie Sheen's The Wrath or something like that.
I knew you were going to go The Wraith.
Wraith. Wraith or Wrath, whatever you want to call it, where it's more of like kind of like a semi-horror thing, but this rests more as an adventure comedy. So I really enjoy watching this. I don't think it is as much in my like all-time favorites of the 80s as some other people. I think I was a little too drawn towards the action Arnold Schwarzenegger guys, but man, Michael J. Fox is young kid doing the comedy, doing the action, really carried a lot of this movie, and it was really fun to watch him again. So if I'm ever going to dust this movie off again, I'm definitely going to watch for his performance. But Rob, I'm sure you own this one. Multiple. Did you see it in theaters? I never saw it in theaters. I definitely watched it on the VHS, and it probably had that to be continued.
No, I don't think so. So 85, I would have been 9. So I don't think I went to the theaters and see it. I do remember seeing it on VHS, but John, one of my first memories of seeing this movie, so I grew up in a small town. So did you. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not really a small town anymore. It was Uxbridge, Ontario. But back then it was a small town. What they used to do, John, is they used to have like this by the city hall. Every summer for 6 or 8 weeks, they would show movies. It was like the old school reel-to-reels. You paid $2 a ticket, and they had people with fresh popcorn. And they had you would sit on the floor. As a kid, you would just sit on the floor of this old school wooden floor, and you'd be watching these movies on projection. I remember watching this movie that one summer on like old school reel to reel. Like they brought in and we would watch it. This movie for me, I feel like there's a certain amount of movies throughout my history as a movie file or cinephile or movie going guy that I could probably look at that have influenced me in some capacity. And as a 46-year-old guy now, looking at this movie, I started to realize there's probably things in my life that I'm like, holy shit, I don't think I ever realized how influential that movie was on me growing up as a kid. I find it to be more charming the older I get. I find nuances, like the whole idea about meeting your parents in the past is always like intrigued. I always thought it was kind of funny, but now as a dad with a kid who's 13 and a daughter who's 10, like I often think, like, I don't know, just for me, maybe I'm the only one, but I'm often like, I think I thought about that when I was a kid. And I often wonder, like, now that my son watches it, he's watched the movie a couple of times, if he also thinks, so I wonder what it'd be like to go back in time to meet your dad. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I actually, your
dad in a tree.
My dad
on your mom.
I would be the person. You'd be like, "You're a peeping Tom."
This is a big no-no nowadays. I wonder what the rewrite on that scene would look like if they redid this movie.
But it's funny because you mentioned Michael J. Fox and his charm carrying this movie. But the one thing I noticed, John, I actually think that most of these actors do a fantastic job. Like, it doesn't feel like they're acting. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, even Crispin Glover as George McFly,
Is he the
like
young
when
version?
he was carrying that laundry and he's like into the backyard and he's stringing it up and he's talking to Marty about, well, you know, Lorraine doesn't want me to go. She's not going to ask me to go to the dance. Like, it all felt so organic. And what really stuck out to me, John, is that after watching, I think Gord's still in the chat, and maybe he'll agree or disagree with me, but after watching Stranger Things recently, I've really come to appreciate how well crafted Stranger Things world of the 80s. They've captured that sense of wholesomeness that you get in these movies, and even in the dialogue. Even if I went back, we watched the first season again of Stranger Things, and the wholesomeness and the gosh darn, the shucks, everything about Back to the Future, you can see that DNA.
Heavy.
It was just, yeah, like Doc Brown, like Christopher Lloyd's mannerisms, like, you know, his facial expressions. Like, this movie is charming as fuck, John. Like, this is, I love this movie. I feel like this is one of these ones where the more I watch it in different points of my life, the more I'm so appreciative that it was ever made in the first place. Because I think I appreciate it more now as a 46-year-old guy than I did when I saw it a few years ago, than when I did all the way back to when I was a 9 or 10-year-old kid in Uxbridge. So I'm really happy this movie exists because I love this movie.
No, I think it is like it's a time capsule, and it just embodies, like, I think 100% I got a skateboard because of this movie. And I'm sure parents knew about skateboards because of this movie. So it's pretty cool. But I feel like for some reason, for me, Back to the Future 2 is the one that I remember more from my youth. So I think if we were to jump ahead and watch Back to the Future 2, I would have more of the nostalgia drug than I do have for this first one. But yeah, let's go to that. So yeah, so Gord says it still holds up. Lewis says he never tires of watching this movie. Sarah says she loves this movie. Yeah, I feel like some of these movies, and it's the same thing goes with like music and stuff. Some of these things can just transport you back in time. Yeah, and I think 100% this movie is one of those movies that you start watching it, and you almost want to go start digging through your garage and pulling up all your old stuff from the 80s. So if a movie has that power over you, I definitely would love to get one of those Toyota trucks. From the movie, man, those things are actually highly desired and highly collectible right now. So I would 100% get one of those. But let's talk a little bit about the DeLorean. DeLorean. Did you ever watch the documentary?
I did. Yeah, I did watch the documentary on the DeLorean. There's also there's a couple of movies out there about it as well. I've seen all of those. Lewis. See, now Lewis picked up the Lego DeLorean. I missed out. I do go back onto the Lego website every couple of days to take a look to see if it's available, and it's still temporarily sold out. So I got it. I would love to get that.
I remember building the model car.
Okay.
From I think all my stuff is from the second one though. It was like one of those ETR or Toll or whatever. Maybe a Mattel kit or something like that. And I butchered that thing. I was like a young kid, painted random stuff orange and all that kind of stuff. So if I ever find it, it probably looks like trash, but I'll definitely post it. But they did recently reveal the new DeLorean, Rob. I don't know if you saw the pictures of that. Do you think if they made a reboot of this movie, they would have to use the classic, or could they update it and use this new one? I don't know.
I'm not really too sure. It's a good question, because at the time when they made this movie, the DeLorean was like, it was like a monster story. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't a highly sought after car. There's a lot of problems with it. It was kind of, I guess, the laughing stock of the automakers. And so, it looked super futuristic, but it was not a very reliable vehicle.
Yeah. I think it's these gull wing doors. That's 100% why it got chosen for this movie. And what helps it look futuristic when he pops it open in the movie. Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll ever remake if they were to remake the movie, would they ever use a modern day DeLorean? I highly doubt it. But you do raise a point about reboots. And the question was, okay, so there Lewis is saying, I think there was the thing about never rebooting this franchise. Yes. So this is one of those movies where you kind of are surprised, John, when you're getting a lot of these revisiting or reboots of these IPs from the 80s. You're like, wow, I'm surprised that there's been no Back to the Future. Well, apparently Bob Gale and Bob Zemeckis, who both own the rights in conjunction with Universal, have said they will never redo this series whatsoever. Now, we've seen some commercials, and we've seen, we've seen Lloyd and Fox get back together with Lea Thompson and whatnot for some commercial stuff and commercial work. But aside from that, as a movie, they said that they'll never reboot this series, this franchise. Now, not to be morbid, I don't know if that will hold true once they, pass on to the next realm. But while both of them are still alive, they're very firm that you will not see a reboot or a revisit of this franchise cinematically. So So we'll leave that to the mystery box. But I think the gull-wing doors aren't as unique anymore. We got these Teslas running around, and that's true.
And they'll pop open, and a whole bunch of kids will come running out. It doesn't have that same mystique. Maybe we'll have to go with the Lambo scissor doors, or I don't know. Maybe you have to drop out of the
no doors. No, they drop down. The drawers drop.
Oh, they drop down. Yeah, and you hop out. I feel like that's maybe that's an unexplored territory. But let's go on to the cast then. Since you've mentioned the cast, obviously we know Michael J. Fox, charming as hell. Crazy that he made such a career, and he was I guess he's shorter than your average movie star. Like, you can see guys are just towering over him. I think he's like 5'5" or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, none of the kind of like stuff that they pulled with Tom Cruise. They weren't trying to make him look taller in his career.
Yeah,
I don't think ever
to put him up on top of. Yeah.
I don't think they ever did that. I don't think he ever rocked a super toned, muscular body. And I think maybe it's crazy. And then he got to be so successful in so many movies. But what about Christopher Lloyd? I feel like that guy, he got to that certain point of aging, and then he just stopped, right?
Yeah,
he looks virtually the same.
Well, I wanted to know how old he was when he filmed that movie. So he was 46 when he filmed that movie. Mm-hmm. So he's my age, John. He was my age. Was Doc Brown, and that it's kind of crazy. I mean, I think prior to that, if you remembered the TV show Taxi, with Tony Danza and the guy who played the Penguin, Danny DeVito. He was one of the guys, and Andy Kaufman. He was one of the guys in Taxi, but he was a bit of a bit player. If you're a Star Trek fan, you remember he was in Star Trek. Frasier, you're gonna have to help me out. I want to say
Frasier or Lewis. Maybe jump in on this.
I want to say 5, maybe even earlier than that. He played a Klingon. But yeah, I mean, Christopher Lloyd was, I guess you could say he was somewhat of a kind of known, but he wasn't an A-list actor by any means. However, Star Trek 3, he was just he was funny as hell, man. Like, when I said his facial expressions, so the scene where he shows Marty, here's what I've devised. I've built the town square. It's not to scale, and he was, played part, it was hilarious. But when the wind-up car goes flying off, it's on fire, and his eyes go really wide. He's like, ooh, like that, like he freaks out, right? And with the
it catches. He's got like a bin of like just extremely flammable shit just sitting in the corner, and this car goes straight into it. And I was like, wait, I don't remember if this whole house burns down in this movie or not, but he managed to put it out. But he's great. His expressions, I think, towards the end when he's doing the whole plug thing, and then he gets it, and then the other part unplugs. He's just like, and I was actually like on the edge. I was like on the edge of my seat. I was like, actually, how does he do this? I don't remember at all. Does he slide down? Does like someone else plug it in at the bottom? Does he jump into a bush or something like that? So he's his facial expressions are great. But so I didn't find the supporting cast as strong, especially the Crispin Glover as George McFly. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't feeling his performance at all. But who do you like as supporting cast? Do you like him as George McFly, or do you really like?
Yeah, I did. I thought he was really funny. I thought Lea Thompson as his mom was. I mean,
I'm your density. Or something like he's doing like a Keanu Reeves, like a poor man's Keanu Reeves.
That's right. I thought he was really funny. I thought it was just, I thought that Principal Strickland was nothing but a slacker, McFly, like that. You know who made me laugh? I like belly laugh is the guy who played Lea Thompson's dad. So essentially, Marty McFly's grandfather. He's sitting there, he's watching the television, and Marty takes off because Lea Thompson starts like grabbing his leg under the table, and he's like, "Oh, I'm out here," and he takes off. And
his mom's a little bit of a horn dog back then.
Yeah, and her mom's like, man, that Marty's a strange kid, and he's like, he's an idiot.
Well, when he hits him with the car, he's like calling to the wife. He's like, "Wow, this kid jumped in front of my car," or something.
Another one.
Yeah, another one. These kids keep jumping in front of my car. Like it's like, but literally, he just fell out of the sky. Like, so it wasn't really his fault. But yeah, I think that was great performance. Yeah, so I kind of feel you. Maybe I just didn't like the way that this George guy was coming out. Maybe I'll have to watch it again. Like I said, this was not a movie that was on repeat for me. So I've probably only seen it a handful of times, and probably enjoyed more of the side stuff, like the video games and all that kind of stuff. But what about let's talk a little bit about the director, Rob. I think you're going to be more familiar with this guy, Robert Zemeckis, and his body of work. Was this a cool project for him? I think you've done a lot of kind of different movies, right?
Yeah, he did. I can't think of what he did beforehand, but I want to say that he wasn't overly successful as a director. Leading,
he did Romancing the Stone.
That was before this?
Right before this. 1984, he does Romancing the Stone, and then he does this movie, and then he follows it up with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Yeah, I think that was just before its time. It was very it was clever. And then Back to the Future, and then just a whole bunch of Forrest Gump. He did Forrest Gump.
He really takes off after
Castaway. Yeah, Beowulf, like a lot of stuff. Yeah. So, anything to say about this particular director on this movie?
No, I think he's got a keen eye. I think that, like, I've watched those special features in the past. I've seen there was a bunch of documentaries that came out a couple of years ago for its 35th anniversary. So I watched a lot of those. I mean, the movie went through numerous reshots. In fact, actually, John, I think isn't there the Movies That Made Us? Did Back to the Future. And so, it's really cool to kind of, I think they did. I think it's kind of cool to go back and watch some of that stuff, like the trials and tribulations of getting this movie even made, the rewrites, everything of that nature. But I think, and this is going to sound very cliche, but, sometimes you get lightning in a bottle, right? Mm-hmm. And I think this is a situation where you had the perfect writers, the perfect producers, the perfect director, the perfect cast, inclusive of the fact that they had Eric Stoltz originally in that role, and they swapped him out with Marty McFly. Like, if not for everything coming together, this movie would not be what it was.
Yeah, sorry. There's mention of the Back to the Future Telltale games. I don't know if you ever played that. It was like interactive, almost like a quest style game. I own the physical copy, but a guy in real life is saying that it is available digitally, so we'll have to double check that. I don't know. I remember it had a guy doing a very good imitation of Marty's voice.
Yep.
But yeah. So before we move on to our favorite scenes, were you okay with some of the, like, I know a lot of people have brought issues, the peeping Tom, Marty's dad, the kind of weirdness of Marty's mom, the Lea Thompson character. I don't know why they take off his pants at one point. I remember that sticking out in my mind when I was a kid. Why did they take off his pants and look at him?
Yeah, why is he lying in bed? Why is he
so did she take off his pants? Did the dad take off his pants? Like, what is going on here?
Right.
And then the whole thing, like Biff is basically going to assault her at the end, and then they're still friends later on. Like, what's going on here, right? So
yeah.
Do you have any issues with any of that stuff, or was that just part of its time, I guess? Marty checks out a lot of girls, right? I think he's like checking out a girl, and then his girlfriend like pulls his face. It's like, hey,
keeping focus, and he's like looking at these two girls who are in complete 80s like workout wear, like they came from the 20-minute workout. And his girlfriend like moves his face over to kind of refocus. I mean, in real life, like if you were dating your wife at the time before you you did that, she would have slapped you, man. I know my wife would have knocked me the fuck out. It's funny because when I was watching it and I didn't really think too much of the peeping Tom aspect of it. It was more of Biff in the car, essentially trying to like manhandle Lorraine. And I was like, I don't know how that holds up, like how that translates nowadays. But I also have to remember it is not reflective of the 80s. It was reflective of the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that that's an important distinction as well. Because listen, I wasn't alive in the 50s, but in movies and shows that you see, that seems to be somewhat reflective of how men treated women back then, and still do to a certain extent. But so it doesn't really bother me because I do think that this is a movie that takes place now, way back further than what we are in current times. So.
Yeah. So no, I guess don't put too much stock in it. It's a product of its time, and I'm sure there would be changes if it was brought back somehow. But so let's jump. But
don't forget, John, it was a product of its time, reflective of the 50s, not reflective of the 80s. Because even Marty says when he's working out that plan with his dad, he's like, "Now you're gonna come in," and he's like, "I'm gonna get." And he's like, what are you going to be doing? He goes, well, girls, from where I'm from, girls don't like it when guys try to take advantage. So I think in the 80s, they were making a very poignant understanding that, where he's from, that type of shit doesn't fly. So that's what I think is important to remember, that it doesn't take place in the 80s, it takes place in the 50s.
Yeah. And I think if they were to remake this movie, I don't think they would go all the way back to the 50s because we're so far past that. But anyways, it was cool. Let's get into I guess favorite scenes. Do you have a particular favorite scene, Rob?
Well, I had such an appreciation for that end scene of Christopher Lloyd. Like, listen, man, from the moment the car's not starting, and he smashes his head on the steering wheel. And I think they cut back 5 times to him driving down the same road.
This is the long ass road for the finale, and almost as long as that Fast and the Furious road. But I'm like, literally, there was a very tense moment when I was like, folks, and drop your favorite scenes in the comments so we can kind of cover the ones that you guys want to talk about. But yeah, when he's trying to struggle with that plug, I'm like, how does he pull this off? Literally, and then it's like stuck on the tree. I'm like, God damn. But I would have just yanked it, right? And that would pull the other plug out 100% for sure. So that's why you do the kind of I think I've done it before. You knot it over the cord and then you plug it in. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they need to do it, but I'm like, if I had to do this, the timing is never going to work. I'm never going to be able to time.
I would fail. I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yo, does he get electrocuted when he puts the thing together? I couldn't remember if he becomes the circuit and he's holding it or he actually plugs it in. But in the movie, he actually plugs it in and kind of gets a little shock from it. But yeah, that's a great scene. I don't think you can get more iconic than that.
It builds up the tension, right? It builds up the tension. I had a smile on my face because I was loving his performance. Again, that scene wouldn't have the same type of tension. You got the clock ticking. Marty's driving. It's not plugging in, and he plugs it in. He sees it's caught underneath the trees, like in his face. Like, it was absolutely, as you said, it was the longest road. It was the longest way to get there. But man, it was just edge of your seat, like fun and exciting, right?
Yeah. I really like the first scene where he fights Biff. So he trips him. I think when he's about to go after his dad. Yeah. And then he kind of gets a kind of like, hey, look over here, and then gets a sucker punch in and just runs off. And then he creates skateboarding. There's a bunch of kids with wooden crates on top of these skateboards, and he snaps it off. Yeah. And he just goes skateboarding, and then he starts grabbing onto cars and stuff like that. And then he hits the manure thing, and then the manure falls on, which was, I think, one of the funniest things when you were a kid. This whole manure getting all over the bad guy was the funniest scene ever. I do question, Rob, part of Doc Brown's story on how he developed the flux capacitor is a little bit shady. He says he's standing on top of his toilet to hang a photo or something. Have you ever had the need or desire to ever stand on any part of your toilet to do
Oh,
something.
but have you ever stood on top of a chair that swivels? I saw my daughter standing on her chair, her swivel chair in a room, trying to turn her.
My daughter loves to do
fan
that.
on.
Yeah, they stand on it and they kind
Yeah.
of like swing it around. Like, yeah, this is the most dangerous thing I've ever done. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but you know, there's like, you know, you go back. There's some nuances. The band, the Marvin Berry band,
Mhm.
he calls his cousin Chuck. He's like,
Yeah,
I'm your cousin Marvin.
you know that sound you're looking for,
Right, Chuck Berry, right? I mean, I don't know how old I was. It was maybe just a number of years ago, John. I was probably in my early 40s, late 30s when I realized, beginning of the movie, to the Twin Pines Mall. Remember, he knocks out that one pine tree when he goes back in time. When he goes back in time, he plows through one of the trees. When he goes back to the future in 85 and he sees, you know, Doc Brown get shot down by the Libyans, it's the lone pine tree mall.
Because he killed the tree.
Because he took the trees out. He took the one tree out. Like that to me is hilarious. Like there's so many little things in that, you know, in the movie. Like, hey, he's gonna be mayor. And he goes, that's right. I'm gonna be mayor. And he's like,
that was definitely the most over the top you know,
performance.
Yeah, product of its time, also like kind of playing up the stereotype, but it was still really funny to see. Like that phone scene. Did they make fun of that phone scene in Ninja Turtles as well when Vanilla Ice is singing Ninja Rap? Does some guy grab the phone and go, "Hey, check this out" or something like that? I swear it's in there. Maybe we'll have to put Ninja Turtles 2 on our viewing schedule. If anyone remembers that, let me know. But yeah. So a guy who says that the skateboard scene gives off vibes from that Boba Fett scene. I think if we were to get to Back to the Future 2 and the fake hoverboard scenes, that would 100% look the exact same. I'm trying to think of what else was like. Anything else really, really funny that we want to talk about before we move on from this?
Well, I mean, even when he crashes into the barn and the kid's like, "Quick, Pa, before he takes human shape," like that. Right?
yeah. He just starts blasting with the shotgun. It's like the craziest thing ever. Then he just has to pull the DeLorean and take off. Oh man, what about the music, Rob? How do you feel about this? Huey, it's Huey Lewis, right?
Huey Lewis. Yeah. Huey Lewis was the guy in the gymnasium when Marty was trying out a Battle of the Bands. Like he looked to his left, and he looked to his right.
He's the one that checks everybody up.
And he's like, "I'm sorry, you're just too damn loud." That was Huey Lewis. You know what? It was nice because the song wasn't overly used in the movie. Like it was played a few times throughout the movie, but I think it added to it, right? Because it was mostly the hook that was played.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was all right. I thought the music was great. I mean, the orchestral aspect of that movie, like the theme of that movie.
Yeah.
It's in your head, you know, you hear it everywhere, you know, it's kind of like, you know, you have Star Wars, you have the Superman, the movie, even 89 Batman. I think argument can be made that, you know, Back to the Future's theme is also ingrained in our memory banks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they could play that all the time. Yeah, I think they play it throughout all 3 movies. Yeah,
they do.
If I remember correctly. But yeah, so all right, so that's the music, that's the scenes. I don't know if I had anything else, Rob. Let me see. Yeah, we talked to would you want to see a remake of this movie?
No.
Do you think it's the best out of all 3 movies? For sure, this first one is the strongest, right?
Yeah, I there's a lot of people who love number 2 way more. Like for them, number 2 is like their empire. Right? Like, and I'm not sure. For me, I think the magic of number 1 is just timeless. I really do enjoy number 2, but number 1 for me is probably my fave. Yeah.
I think I would have to rewatch 2, but I think I know in my heart that number 1 is the better movie. I think 2 I just remember more because of the hoverboards and the going to the future, the sports almanac gimmick and old Biff. I remember old Biff being pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well,
and then revisiting the events of number 1.
Yeah.
Of this.
Yeah. You got to go back, and then he has to avoid running into himself, right?
Yeah.
yeah, so you almost get both movies in one. So you get a rehash of the first movie and the second movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'd have to see. I actually remember not minding all these movies. Even the third one. I kind of remember the third one. I remember the third one fondly.
I went to the theater to see the third one. It's my least favorite.
Yeah.
Of the three movies, and I'm a guy who likes westerns. You would think I would like it, but I just.
Yeah. Who knows? I was just a kid, and I remember in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the third one as well, Turtles in Time.
God!
Which is one of the most atrocious things you can watch right now.
Yeah.
If you ever go, even just visually, even if you don't watch the plot, it's horrible. So yeah, Lewis says he liked all three, so that's cool. So a lot of people don't mind 3, so I don't know if we're ever going to put it on our rewatch. But I think that's all we got for Back to the Future, unless we start talking about it as a complete trilogy, which I think we'll have to save for another time. Rob,
it was a good summer movie though, right?
Yeah. No, I think because this was like a blockbuster back then, right? Like it was.
Yeah, it was released in what did I say? July, right?
85. Yeah, 85.
Yep.
Yeah, so that would have been right, and people probably would have saw it multiple times. You probably would have went right back to the theater, bought another ticket, looped back around.
That's right.
But yeah,
back in time.
Yeah, back in time. I think it is. It's the best time travel movie. Do you think? Would you choose another time travel movie? Would you choose something more modern, like a Looper, which I don't remember at all, or Time Cop? I think we've already established Time Cop was not as good on the rewatch.
Right. No, I wouldn't.
Tenet?
No.
Would Tenet qualify as a time travel movie?
No. Well, yes, it would, but it's not. I don't know. I'm now hard pressed to have to think of a time travel movie that would be.
Endgame? Endgame is considered a time travel movie, is it not?
I guess it would be.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. Definitely not Looper. Thank you. I saw that movie and I don't remember it at all. So definitely, I don't know why it just came to mind, but whatever. Terminator, I guess, is considered a time travel movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is the most fun for sure. We should definitely do some of time travel. Like Rob said, that's one of his things. Time travel movies always get you. It always
Star Trek 4, isn't that where they or is it 5 when they go back in time into San Francisco? Maybe it was
to save the whales.
Yeah,
I think that's 4. I think that's I know 4. That one.
Yeah,
Hot Tub Time Machine. Yeah, shout outs to Fraser.
Hot Tub Time Machine. Excellent adventure.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we could go on and on about this. So Rob, you had suggested something that we go and rewatch. We're looking for a little bit of input, folks. Rob, you had suggested the original Avengers movie, right? I think I did.
Yeah, I did. But you were Oh, is that what we're doing?
I don't know. I kind of was thinking Infinity War or Endgame went along those lines because I've only ever seen those movies once. Avengers, I feel like I have seen it a couple of times.
All right, well then let's just we can do Infinity War. I mean, we're doing them 2 separately. You can't do them. We can't have one night dedicated to both movies.
We can't.
I think that's a lot.
Okay, I think we should do. I kind of want to do Infinity War. Let us know in the comments, folks, if you're down with Infinity War, because I feel like I've watched the original Avengers a bunch of times, and I haven't watched. And everyone keeps talking about them when we watch Doctor Strange. All these other, they're like, oh, my top 3 list is Infinity War, Endgame, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I only saw them once, and I feel like for some reason I wasn't feeling them at the time, so I feel like they are definitely worth a rewatch. Yeah. I'm
down. Infinity War. It's on Disney Plus right now.
Okay, so we'll go Infinity War, folks. Ignore my GIF that I made next week of Original Avengers. You can watch that in your own time. But we're going to go to Infinity War. We're going to stick with something superhero-y, and then maybe we'll switch it up coming up.
We'll have to do Endgame after that.
I guess we do have to do Endgame because then we have to eventually do Thor Ragnarok, right, Rob?
Yeah,
because the new Thor Love and Thunder comes out in July.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much time we have between then, but we figured we'd do a quick rewatch of the end of that era of the Marvel Universe.
There you go.
Yeah, and I guess Endgame will be our next time travel movie. So maybe we will have a summer of time travel movies. Lewis wants us to watch Back to the Future 2 and 3. You can do that. As I'm sure you're going to do it anyways. But I think I might put Back to the Future 2 on and kind of revisit that. But thanks, Rob. We're all glad you're feeling good or better.
I'm all right.
Let's say feeling better.
Feeling
You're
all
back
right.
to have some fun with us. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody that filled in while Rob was gone. We'll have to get to some game playing again. We'll have to see if Rob could possibly dominate the trivia style game. And I've got a couple other games up my sleeves for us to give it a go. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, buddy.
We'll catch you guys on the last time. Thank you, everybody in the chat.